Hi everyone, it is Shelley and Ross here. So we're going to be covering, this is like the third part to our um, series on wellness evaluations, though you can use this section to be getting a decision on anything you're doing, even if it's a business opportunity, a product presentation, a body scan, wellness evaluation, etc. It could relate to anything. Ross is going to cover this, and I know it's sometimes one that we can find difficult in the beginning, asking for the sale, asking for the decision, and getting people onto the products at the end of it. So I'm going to hand it over to Ross. It's going to be a fairly quick training, but a really good one.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, honey. All right. So the art of decision. So let's get going. Click in here so we can get the mouse here to move. All right. The first thing when you got to do when you're starting a sale or the process of everything, you need to start with an intention. What am I there for? Why am I there? What am I intending to do? What am I intending to achieve? What's my end goal before I even start? You have to have that intention in your mind. Now, from my point of view, if I'm looking to, I'm going to call it sell for the moment, but I'll change that halfway through this call. If I'm looking to sell something to somebody with what we do, my intention is automatically always an ultimate program. I go into every single sale with that intention in my brain. I am selling an ultimate program. Why? Because it is the biggest program. Two, it's going to get the fastest result. A customer's generally looking for a result, and if I start them on something very, very tiny, they get dissatisfied, not because the product's not working, because they're not getting a result quick enough. So the intention always is Ultimate Program is going to give them the best result for weight loss. Ultimate Program is going to give them the best result for energy because it has energy products inside it. Formula One also gives you some energy. All those things are important. Now, it could be an ultimate sports program, but that's what my intention always is as strong as possible on the ultimate program. Now, obviously, with the call, if for whatever an objection comes up with funds, that's a different conversation. And you can do this, you start to take some items away in the process, and that helps the customer then go, oh, and especially, look, if someone walks in and only wants to lose a kilo, sure, they're probably not going to want to buy an ultimate program. Someone walks in the door looking to lose that 10 to 15 or 20 kilos, they really need an ultimate program plus extra Formula Ones to get across the line. So that's where my intention always is when I'm trying to
Do
move
you,
forward.
do you think just with Eric Worre always said the biggest pack serves them best?
The biggest pack serves and backs, that's from a business perspective because you duplicate that. But if we're talking about what we're doing, this is the art of decision making, the art of the sale. I'm trying to get the customer the best possible result. And I know this is what's going to give them the best possible result. And I would probably be adding more products on depending on what their needs were and depending on where they are from there.
So when I used to, on the old way, before we did body scans, I'd take an ultimate program and I'd put it on the table, and I would always start with the ultimate program, and then I would take some products away and say, this is the next pack. And then I'd take some more products away and this is the next pack. And because I talked about all the benefits of the products, each one, they didn't want me to take something away. So it actually is quite, if you're ever doing that sort of presentation, actually works quite.
It is one way. It is definitely one way to do it. Second one is you need to be prepared. For again, we've got an intention, but are you prepared? And what I mean by prepared is, do you have the stock to sell? Because if you don't have the stock to sell, where your situation? And I understand with what we do, yes, we have a warehouse. You don't have to carry massive amounts of stock, but do you have at least an ultimate program on hand to sell so the customer can take it with you? Now I understand we can say, hey, give me your details, so forth, and I can have it transshipped and it'll be shipped within the 3 to 5 business days potentially. But ultimately, you're going to get a better result if you got stock to sell. And in that case, if I was looking at an ultimate program, I would want to have at least two flavors of the tea, the original and the peach. I would want to have at least two flavors of the aloe. I would be using mandarin at one point because I feel grape's too sweet. That's my opinion. I would be back to mandarin, and I would also have an original for the customer that likes that different style and is not looking for the sweetness. I would have at least that available to me so I have options available for the customer's perspective. So are you prepared to sell stock? Secondly, are you prepared to take their funds? Do you have your bank account details ready to give the customer? Do you have some sort of payment method, whether it's Square or all those sort of things? And if you don't, some things do cost, I do believe. I understand that. But there is certain banks, and I believe PayPal, there is processes where you could have those already set up in place, ready to go by having pay. And if it's cash, do you have change? Do you have a few notes on you available if they are gonna, and a few coins that at least you could, if you need to, round it down from your own point of view, and at least be able to give the customer change. So definitely need to be prepared for different methods of payment. Definitely need to be prepared to have your stock ready to sell. Now, you are a consultant. You may or may not have heard this before, but you are a consultant. And what I mean by that is you're not a salesman. You're not really there as much as we're using the word sell. You're not really there to sell a product. You are there as a consultant. And what does a consultant do? They ask questions. They are consulting with somebody to, we help customers solve an issue. That's what consultants do. I'm not selling you anything. Anything I do is not selling. I am trying to get the customer the best possible result. Because they've come to us generally with, I'm overweight. They could be, I'm underweight and I can't put it on. Or I'm just tired all the time. They're probably the three main things we deal with. So I'm trying to help solve that issue for the customer. So as a consultant, I ask questions. As many questions as you can. And when you ask questions, generally people start to talk about themselves and tell you why they've done this, done that. How long have I been on a diet for? I haven't been able to do this for whatever length of time. But I'm still asking questions without being rude, without being interrogating. I'm probing through, hey, how long have you been trying to lose weight for? What have you tried before? You got to find your flow with that, and you may need to do that a few times to figure out that what I say works here, what I say here doesn't work, and you've got to try and build a rapport with different people. Sometimes it may take a little bit of time for the customer to even open up, be able to talk to you. So I'm a consultant. I help solve issues. How do we do it? We're listening. We're listening for every time we hear a customer. And unfortunately, when we always do what we do is we stop listening because our brains think, what have I got to say next? What have I got to say next? What have I got to say next? And we stop listening to what the actual customer is actually trying to tell me because they're telling you all the time in your conversation with what is going, because you're listening for that. You're listening for the pain point. And when you can get to that, you can solve the issue. Because if you can't get to the pain point, you can't solve an issue. Because until you find the customer's pain, their discomfort, the reason why they probably come to talk to you, the reason why they feel they're overweight, the reason why they can't put weight on, whichever it is, the reason why they feel like they're tired all the time, whatever it is, you can't solve the problem. We have to get to that point. All right. We're looking for that pain point. All right. It's not being nasty. We're really, because I can't help you unless you really tell me where you're in pain. All right. And until the pain of technically what they're doing, the new pain, because everything's a pain, until it becomes so uncomfortable, people don't do anything. Money becomes an objection until the pain of I'm overweight, I'm fat, I feel terrible, whatever, becomes so much that I'm sick of this, I'm prepared to spend whatever dollars to get out of the pain. It's one of two pains. So you have to overcome their objection, their pain. And a lot of people are going to say to you, I've been on every diet before and nothing works. So they're frustrated, right? So then you have to be able to emphasize, you have to start to tell stories of each of us, different ones of us. Yep, this person lost this person lost this. I lost 15 kilos in the Ultimate Program, didn't believe it would work. You know what I mean? Had to sit on the floor, do my shoes up. You need to be each other's stories and know them so that when you hear the pain point, because I've got to understand I'm a guy, and if I'm talking to a girl, she goes, yeah, guys are easy to lose weight. They do it so much simpler. So I need to know other people's stories.
Well, I tell everyone stories all the time. Like I definitely know them very well and I use them quite regularly. So do you think as well when it comes to that, there's a difference between being curious and serious?
Yeah, definitely. And then we use that in a different training level. But you really look again by being a consultant, by asking questions, you're really trying to find out, is this person seriously ready to change? Right? And again, I'll get to the next slide in a minute. Well, you're really looking for that seriousness. Is the customer just going through the motions, trying to check something else out, but really not real? Are they ready or they're not ready? Are they serious about ready to change? Because that's the next part. We are offering a solution, right? Everything we do is to offer the solution on that pain point. That's our job. Solutions. By listening, by having a little bit of knowledge in the background, our job is to offer a solution. And look, I know from my point of view, I know an ultimate program will pretty well solve most people's problem if they don't cheat eat. If they cheat eat, it's a little bit different. It makes it harder. If they're not serious, again, if they're not serious, then it makes it a little bit difficult. All right. But if they're serious and want to change, then an ultimate program will change their life in a period of time. Individual results do vary, obviously. Not everybody's going to lose it or gain it in the same time frame, but that's our job to offer a solution. And once you offer a solution, you need to ask the customer, are you ready to start today? Or a variation of that set of words. Are you ready to start today? You've just told me you've been trying to diet and do whatever for the last 5 years, right? You told me you're sick and tired of being overweight. I'm sick and tired of sitting on the floor to have to do my shoes up. So, are you ready to start today? And then when you do that, so Shelley, are you ready to start today?
I'd really like to get the weight off, but yeah, I'd actually think that I would like to get started.
Cool. The trick, the hardest thing to
Until
do,
Megan was like, "Oh my God, when is she going to do it?"
hardest thing to do is wait for them to talk. Because whoever speaks second wins. All right? I'll say it, and rather say it in a negative way. Whoever speaks second wins the sale. Because whether you like it or not, as much as we talk about everything is selling. I'm trying to consult the person to consume the product for the best result. The customer is trying to sell me that they're not ready. They are selling me in their own little way. I can't afford it, whatever it is. Okay? So you have to learn to wait. And it is probably one of the hardest things to do.
If you're a little bit nervous, or I know with me, I didn't like the silence. I wouldn't let the silence happen. And then because I was talking the whole time, they had no time to sit there and ponder and think it through, especially if they're a green personality type that needs some time. And then I'd almost talk them out of it because I didn't let them just think. I've had a few thinkers lately, and we just had to sit. And I know Megan had Janet. She definitely took a little bit of time. She was sitting there looking at the thing and giving her that time to think. But then she made the decision that she wanted the ultimate program. And I think that's the thing.
So this is what we do. We do. We're offered the ultimate program. We ask the customer, are they ready to start today? Before they speak, we go, but we could make it a little bit, we could budget it for you. We could lower the pack. Well, you don't have to buy an ultimate program. It's all over at that point. They're going, oh, cool, I'll just walk away with the smallest item. You can't talk. You've got to wait for them to go, look, I don't know whether I can afford whatever the pack is. I'm not going to raise the price on the pack on the call because it could be what it is. So I can't afford it. Okay. Then you've got to start to be clever in how you're tactical. And again, this comes down to how do I ask questions in the beginning? Because sometimes they might go, oh, I got to go and ask my husband, can I pay the money? Does happen.
Or I need to work out my budget.
Or I got to work up my budget. Then you got to be clever enough. So, cool, I appreciate you got to work out your budget, but if you ask yourself at the moment, you just told me the evaluations that you go to buy lunch every day, you buy coffee every day of the week. Well, that costs blah 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 blah. That's roughly so. That's actually going to be you're actually better off with this pack.
You'll save money.
You'll save money. So again, it's because if I've heard and listened and I've asked enough direct questions, and this takes practice, right, through the conversation, right? And you got to be prepared. In some respects, being prepared at the beginning, you got to be prepared for the what if I can't afford it objection, right? You can say it depends on and again your skill or your way of talking. You could go, how do you put a value on your health? You can use that.
I often say this is my health insurances program.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And, I think it's just being able to navigate through at the end to be able to say, when would you like to get started? How would you like to pay for that?
Yeah, and are you ready to start? No, it doesn't have to be that set of words either, by the way. I don't like scripts. I really don't. I know Shelley does. I don't always like scripts. I like the principle of the script, but not the actual set of words. I like this is how it should flow, and then you figure out in the nuance in that how you talk. Because if you follow the script and they don't, I go something and they don't say the line they're supposed to say in the script, I go, oh, I don't know what to do now. So I want the nuance of the script, not necessarily exact words. So in the conversation, it could be, is there anything you'd like to start on today? Are you ready to start today?
Are you
Right?
interested in anything?
Is there interest in anything? What did you like best out of what we talked about? There's you can pull that to pieces if you chose to, right?
Yeah.
All right. We've also used things in the world. What did you like best? I actually like the fact that you spoke, oh, great. Well, you could do that all the way through every one of those. It's just, again, practice.
Yes. And I think if the person does leave not buying,
Yep.
you should be following up as well. And if you can get a phone call in, I'm very big on the phone call or the face-to-face if possible, because I know I'll get the better result. And that's just skill building as well. It takes time to
Yep.
be able to get good at that.
Yep. So, do you want to throw the stats up?
Yes. Please.
So, just some information on, and then now it says sales. Now, what you got to realize in the world we live in today, everything is selling. We're all selling all the time. Is everything you do. When people say I'm not a salesman, that you're actually trying to sell me that you're not a salesman. Everything is selling in some way, shape, or form.
But in our profession, we're consultants.
In our profession, we're trying to be consultants, and consultants ask questions. Consultants have a recommending, and they are looking to help educate and get prospect to understand this is what we have available for you, and we do have something that could get you a result with what you're looking to do. That's our job. So some statistics. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect.
That's crazy.
Never follow up with a prospect. You have a conversation, you do whatever, and they leave the room. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Then 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 2. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. Now, first contact could be
the phone call
from the lucky spot. There's first contact. Then I'm ringing you to make sure, hey, just checking you're right to come in on your appointment. They're all points of contact.
That's second contact.
Second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact.
Which is often when they're coming into the centre.
Which is often when that's your wellness evaluation. So only 5% are made potentially on that third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. So you may have to reach out to the customer a week later and go, hey, how'd you go? Because in the evaluation, you might have said, oh, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'll get to send some stories out about certain people that have lost that amount of weight that you're trying to lose.
You can send some recipes, invite them to an event.
Anything. All that
definitely
sort of
results are very good as well, and just keep in touch.
Yep. This is the big one. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. And most people never get there. You know what I mean? If most people 48% of salespeople never follow up with the prospect, what chance do they ever get to at least the 5th contact? All right, that's 50% of salespeople are never actually going to ever make a sale, and potentially if you follow those 2 different stats. All right. So it's just interesting numbers to have a look at as a principal benefit.
So the peers be great at follow-up, stay in touch so that when they're ready, when they're open and ready because their circumstances change, just because they said no doesn't mean no forever, that they're going to come back to you because you are staying in touch, and you'll just get them on that, okay, I'm ready now. You know, I wasn't ready before, but I am now. So you need to stay in touch. And by putting them into chats and into different groups to nurture them, like Healthy Active Lifestyle, you can nurture them in there as well. So they're getting dripped on with different things. You can send out a regular email or a text or something in Messenger, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, you're building that rapport. The next free 7-day challenge we've got, pop them into that. And just start nurturing them and let things drip on them. So that was basically our training.
Yeah, so just to recap, I'm not a salesman, because salesmen can come across as creepy because I come across as a desperation and pushy. I'm desperate. I'm pushy. I'm trying to sell something. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to solve your problem. I'm trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be in the trench with you are. I'm trying to help you fix your problem.
Trying to be human.
I'm trying to be human. I'm trying to connect with you. I'm trying to help you solve the concern you've got. And I'm here next to you to go, hey, I think we can work together. I can be by your side. We'll do follow up or whatever language you want to use it on, and we'll get you to where you want to be. That's the two things. The salesman attitude generally loses the sale because the salesman's actually not listening, because the salesman's doing one thing. I'm trying to sell this product. The consultant is listening to what the customer wants, and then I'm trying to find the solution to what you want. It's like me going, I love original beverage, so I'm only going to sell the original beverage, but the customer doesn't want a original beverage. They want a peach, and I'm not going to sell you a peach because it's not what I like. It's understanding that I should be listening. So using that as an example. All right.
Cool.
So cool.
So you can finish recording.
All right. So thank you. And we're going to...
This will go up onto a private YouTube link so you can watch it again and again.
Where
and
should the little thing?
just on the end, just press stop.
And stop recording.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.